Welcome to my 7th video of the series on how to promote your music cheap. So I've had a couple of comments here and I want to address them. So one of them was around self-promotion. I do have self-promotion, yes, that's a part of it, but it's not really what I'm trying to do, trying to impart knowledge of how I've done things to, have fun with YouTube, and that's really it. The reason why I use my own stats, my own videos, is because I have access to my own statistics. I can't use other people's statistics. And the other thing is videos, or even CDs, etc. There's no copyright issues, so I don't have to worry about doing the video and all of a sudden I get flagged for copyright. So that's kind of a couple of reasons why I tend to use my own stuff for purposes of educating you. Okay, the video is called Quality. The digital world, including videos, is different than the real world, which I prefer the real world, playing out, better to busk, open mics, etc., or play live, whatever. I think it's better. The digital world is part of music, so we have to deal with it. So the highest quality you can do, the better. I shoot for the 80% mark. The reason I do that is because I can be picky about EQ, compression, whatever, reverb, delay. So I try to shoot for the 80% mark and then let it go. Because if you don't, you can get caught up in being perfect, and most artists will say that they weren't completely satisfied with what they did, but it was okay, good enough. So regarding content for YouTube, I kind of covered this in the last video, but the YouTube algorithm, make sure you use the right words, describe the video. If you don't, you may not reach your audience. Okay, regarding video quality, unless you purchase the best camera, you're gonna have to deal with and have perfect lighting with your room and filters and LUTs. It said you're not gonna have a mediocre home video. Okay. Now with laptops and the cell phone quality, video quality is getting really good. I was just on a Zoom call with someone, and I was impressed by the quality of their laptop video. What was with the Zoom conversation, and a lot has to do with the interfacing. The video camera is interfacing much better, maybe with the computer, laptop, etc. But the point is, try to do the best video quality you can. But some things to consider. So video is subjective. It's really how you want to present yourself. Your lighting or whatever you do is how really you want to present yourself. Like I said, if you do like a open mic recording or that kind of thing with you playing guitar in front of a camera, that's one thing. If you want to do some other types of like more animated videos, that's another thing, and I have a video on that one also. But you just want to take into consideration your audience when you're doing the video too. What is the song about? So let's say you're doing goth, right? So it's going to be a darker type of video, a lot of black and maybe some, that kind of thing. Know your audience, and that's what pleases them in a sense. If you're doing like a country song, maybe beautiful view, picturesque country scenes, if you will, is another type of video if you want to do more animated type. One thing though is pretty clear is you should shoot for about 1080 pixelation or HD. because some computers, TVs can really notice. So I one of my videos I did a while ago was one of the first ones I did, and I ended up really um, it's not well done. It's a 360 pixelation, and you can see how look how fuzzy it is. All right, I'm just gonna animate a little bit. Away from you. See how fuzzy it is, and that's since then I've learned. I'm not going to redo the video, but since then I've learned that you got to really do 720 or 1080p type of video, because my other computer didn't notice it, but my new computer does. Sound. So that really takes care of it. There's not really much more to say. Video editing is just a huge part, and if you really want to get into video editing, go ahead. I'm not really into the video so much. My more concern is sound. So sound. If you have a good set of ears, like in terms of quality sound, most of the audience can't hear what you hear. This is what I had to learn. I can pick up things. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a producer, but this all have to do with self-production. And so, but I can hear things other people can't. I noticed that in time, like, EQ ranges, reverb, subtle reverb, a lot of reverb. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a master of it, but I can pick it up. But most of your audience can't. So I think it's something to consider. Sometimes people ask me about, what to do about this, and like, well, do you think your audience is really going to hear that one note that you came off? It wasn't perfect. You have to auto tune that one note. I don't think so. Okay. One thing I found, and I want to impart to you, is that headphones, especially flat headphones, is probably the best thing you can do. However, when you have your flat headphones on for a while, it can distort. Sound gets really distorted, and how you perceive sound is really distorted. And the engineers know this. Engineers know how to do things. That's why engineers are, producers are at a much higher level than, producing yourself, or getting your sound out there. So, so that's something I want to make sure. So if you're doing that, because flat headphones are the best, many suggest, and I think so too. But the problem is, your ears start get tweaked, and they get pretty tweaked pretty fast. In other words, your EQ is all fouled up. So sometimes when that happens, the sound can come out quite distorted, and then you end up recording it, and it's like it's not, as your ears come back, it's like, what? How did that happen? So I think the best thing, for me, I had to go to high quality speakers, that have a huge wide range. So I hear the lows and the highs and the mids, everything's, and I can hear it all. And this is, you're kind of using this as a monitor, so you can monitor the sound that you're creating. All right. So yeah. Next is cross formatting. So this is something to think about. How your audience listens to music is varied. Cell phone usage, for example, is at least 50% or more of your viewers or listeners. That's something I acquired over time, and I was like, whoa, that's a pretty high figure. I thought it would be much lower, but in time it's creeped up, and it might even be higher than that. When the cell phone's putting out through its little speaker, cell phone speakers, they don't have any lows. They have mids and high EQ, so it's going to come out very tinny. And so that's how some people are. Now, other people don't listen to it through the little speaker. They actually have, a set of earbuds or high quality headphones or something like that. Now, headphones, they're not flat, are EQ, they're EQ shifted. So they have mid boost or lower and boost. So with a flat, you can hear it's flat. There's no EQ boost. So what you want to try to do is try to hit them all, if you will. So you got the cell phones and you got laptop speakers. And laptop speakers generally are mid to high EQ again. But then if you get a computer at home, a desktop, you might have actually some boosting of the lows. So when you have headphones on, your lows can boost too. So EQing it is really important, and you have to try to see if you can hit them all. So in other words, you don't want to negate the lows because someone has a laptop speakers and cell phone. What about and TVs, by the way, TVs. You want to hit the whole range. Okay, so that's what I mean. Cross format. You have to kind of appeal to everybody. So you have to make sure it's a good EQ mix. All right. The recording of it. So again, the sound can be subjective, and so you're gonna have your DAW, right, which is your Audacity, whatever you're gonna record into, or it can be your cell phone, whatever. But again, you get into compression and maybe even reverb and delay, etc. So again, your target audience. So let me just mention about more pop music. Pop music is really highly produced, highly compressed, as opposed to live. Live, you don't want to use a lot of compression. You want to. It depends. Compression makes highs. Compression kind of creates a even field for all the sounds to be used, if you will. But when you're live, you want that experience. You want like the open mic style. So your rock is going to be more. Your EQ for rock is going to be different from your EQ for pop or R&B, and then live music and acoustic based music, like open mic style, is going to be more live. So you want to adjust the EQ accordingly. Some people like the scoop EQ that's high. You boost the highs and the lows for a rock. Some people like that style, and that's all fine. So what do I use? Whether it matters or not, I don't know. But I use the Sennheiser 935. I came across this microphone by happenstance. I was over someone I knew doing a little jam, just to have fun, and I couldn't believe the quality of the vocals coming out. And so that's what I use. If you're wondering, what I use for microphone and that kind of stuff. Why? And by the way, this is not a cheap microphone. It's I have Shure's SM57, 58. I forget which one, but anyway, they're good. They're decent mic. This is different. This is a high quality mic. It picks up things. It's more linear. It's apparently it's a dynamic mic, but it's already linear. So when I sing, I can sing at a distance, and it picks up everything. Particularly, anyway, it picks up everything, and it also picks up the mistakes. So that's kind of one of the things I use for quality. And then I interface with a Boss VE8 for vocals and acoustic guitar. It's called Acoustic Singer. By the way, that mic is about $250, maybe plus. Whereas the Shure's are usually $50 or so. You're going to use Shure. I use it for vocals, and then if I want to play my guitar through it, I use that separately. The mix isn't that. I find the mix not really great. I don't want to get into the details of this machine because it's kind of complex, but what I like about it is it's very natural sounding. I want my guitar to sound natural. I want my vocals to sound natural. And it takes, I tend to have a boost in my bass. So it kind of takes that off a little bit and then enhances it with a little bit of reverb. But anyway, so I use the Sennheiser going into the Boss VE8, and then it goes into my DAW. Now, you can do a lot of different things. People have Pro Tools and all this stuff that makes your voice sound pretty good. I just like a natural kind of sounding, and that's what I like about this one. So, like, for example, I don't know if you're into guitars or not, but I have a Yamaha, a pretty nice, unique Yamaha with a unique top, spruce top, and what's interesting is sending it through the box VE8 directly, not through the mic, but directly into the Boss VE8. It actually makes it sound like a D41s and D45s, Martins, and it has a real nice sound. And so rather than paying $5,000 or slightly less for a D41, I can use my cheap Yamaha and change the dynamics and the sound and put it through this box and get the same type of high quality sound. So I will leave it at that. Monitoring. So monitoring obviously is when you're using headphones or speakers or something that, or monitors that allows you to hear things while you're trying to play through it. Headphones are already is very common, but like I said before, it's more. I think headphones are good to know how what to sing along with, as opposed to again, you distort your hearing with you have them on too long. Now, the tricky thing about recording, again, this is not. If you have a studio, you're all set. That's the best you can do. I think the second best you can do is if you have like an old style 8-track. The old analog studios are the best. Multi-track studio or whatever, then that's the best probably you can do, because you can hear everything as it is. So when you're hearing things through the headset, that's how it's coming out into the system. But when you have devices that you're listening through, like for example, let's say you're recording a DAW, recording on a computer, you plug in your headphone into your computer, CPU or whatever, and what you're hearing through the headset is different than how it's coming out on the computer. So, and it's also some of these machines, these interfaces also have that monitor component, but it's different. Especially when you're trying to perfect sound, it's like, okay, and it's like, that's not what I heard through my headset. So you have to. The best way to do this, unfortunately, is you have to cater to the DAW. You have to make sure the DAW records it as you want it. It's not going to necessarily record as you're hearing it through the headset. So you want to play the DAW, find out if your EQs, everything is all right, your compression or whatever. You can do that later, but the EQ and the raw sound when you're recording, you want to get a really good raw sound, and then you can do things in the back end. But some people like that. They call it wet. They want a little bit of reverb, a little delay, and they like that in the beginning because it makes them sing better and gives them more confidence and it sounds better. I get that. That is true. But what I'm trying to say is there's a difference between what you're hearing through what's coming into your computer to your DAW, and then what's coming through your headset as a monitor. So that's the tricky part. So you're gonna have to just figure it out, and then again, what the DAW is recording is what you want, and now the DAW plays through the speakers is kind of what you're looking for, not what's coming out of the headset. Okay. So I think that's really it about high quality video and high quality sound. Not much of a video, but it's important to get that. And quite frankly, a lot of these devices are out there. You just put them on the counter, and they're really good with automatically adding compression, delay, and EQing it pretty well. They do it automatically. There are devices such like that. And if you want to keep it simple, you can do it that way. Again, because it's music, you want a high quality recording. Now, we're on YouTube. It's not as important because they want to see all this video stuff. So if it's live, they want to see you and how you're singing, and they're less concerned about the sound. And then if you are, they want to see the video. So there's a balance here. You got to do both. When you're putting a sound and you're distributing a sound to Spotify and all these, Apple products and stuff, you're going to want to have the highest quality sound you can. Now, again, this is digital now. It's not analog. Back in the older days, that analog was very warm and orchestration could be beautiful. Now everything's compressed, and things are getting a little bit better in quality. But yeah. So, well, good luck. Okay, for your tip, there's a playlist you may benefit from that I'm populating. You go into playlists and then promote your music playlist. There are other people talking about the same thing. In other words, how much money they make on Spotify, etc. Music industry stuff. So Mary Spender's a good one. She was very popular, but she's got a lot of interesting information. She's very open and transparent about how much she makes and all that, which is great. Rick Beato, if you don't know him, he's every musician or certainly a guitarist should know who he is and check out his channel. He's I would say a genius or a master of music and production and everything like that. He talks a lot about, he has a lot of guests and stuff on there. So he parades a lot of like jazz people, popular artists on there too. So I'm going to keep populating these with videos that I find that are really pertinent to promoting your music.